Well, hello everybody. I'm David Bose, and it is a rainy day, just lightly sprinkling. Love it. Beautiful. Temperature is just so amazing. And so I thought I'd just come out here in the front yard and do a little video. Um, Man, it's nice out. Um, Probably hear that bird in the background. But I thought I'd do a video on, how do you put it, life, the struggles of life. We talk about all these spiritual things all the time, just about every day. And we get into these deep spiritual, philosophical debates, and um, sometimes we think we got all the answers, and you know, put it all together, and we get sort of euphoric about things, and then the next day something bad happens. We don't got the rent, somebody's leaving us, or somebody's threatening us. Um, and then we go into depression or confusion, and we think, well, we begin to doubt everything we believe. We start to wonder, let's make it more simplistic. Okay, we're here, but what's the point? We just spent hours figuring out all this history out. We know why we're here. We know who created this and why, the spiritual, powerful man within us and all this faith, and we believe in it. But we wake up in the morning and there it is. This same old story. Every time you conquer 5 problems, you get 5 more. What is the deal? Many of these things, it's like patterns. They just keep happening over and over and over to us. People, maybe you've got a pattern in your life of never having anything, and you're starting to get discouraged, or losing all your loved ones, or just being compulsive and doing things that just get you into trouble, or whatever it is. You just can't get ahead. You've never had a good job. You've never had enough money to feed your family the way you wanted to, or take care of your family. And it's just a pattern. You can't get out of it. And you say, well, what's all this spiritual talk for if we don't have any progress, if we're not making progress? What is the... It's fine to talk about all these doctrines and teachings and things, but the question, I think, is more important. We got to get all that straightened out. All this little glitter just in front of our eyes is hampering us from finding the truth. But once we get all of that in place, at least enough to where we can see through the glitter, to begin to see what it is we're here for, theoretically anyway, starts getting more understandable. But what do we do on a daily basis with all these problems? Aren't we supposed to be happy now? It's wonderful that the future is going to be bright, some million years from now. We're going to evolve into some better people, right? Or it's wonderful to know our Father and loves us. But what about all these problems? We keep praying, Father, I want to be happy. Is that what you're praying? I want to be content. I want to be, we've talked about, well, maybe it's just our fault. We're supposed to be content with less, but we're not. So what are we going to do? We're not content with less. Here's the thing. The flesh is weak. So you're not going to make your flesh content. You're not going to make this world change. It's always going to be dirty. It's always going to be dog eat dog. The neighbor's always going to be yelling at you. People in your relationships are always going to be mad at you. So what is it? We've got to get to a place where we just don't care. We're more preoccupied with the spiritual realm. We don't care about this physical realm, and we just fly away. What is the answer? Well, here's my answer. Here's what I have to offer you today, because we need some kind of answer. Many of you are in dire need of an answer, whether it's physical, mental. Some of you have been in and out of prison. Some of you are broke and you need assistance and depressed or whatever. But there is an answer. In my opinion, this is a discipline that I don't believe that this is going to solve every problem that you have immediately, but only because I don't think you're going to be able to do this discipline properly in one day. But I think if you could do this discipline in one day properly, you would never have any more problems. Okay, so here's how it goes. We're spiritual beings. We're creating our world, ultimately. The physical world is like a hologram, and energy is transformed into matter and matter back into energy. That's strange. We don't have a lot of people in this neighborhood. It's kind of a small little community, and there's a young man going by just when I'm doing this video with his radio going on his bicycle. But and of course these birds are just but you see, there's always going to be these little things going on to sort of distract us. But here's the thing. We're spiritual beings. The physical world's the physical world. Avalanches, hurricanes, earthquakes, they occur in the physical realm. And if you built your house on a place that is sand, then the water's going to come and wash it away. So there's a lot of things we have to do just to keep this world afloat. And that's going to take some stress. Jesus says nothing you can do will change one hair of your head by thinking, worrying, stressing out about it. Stress is the worst thing you can ever do for anything. So even if what I'm about to say isn't going to be the spiritual fix-all, it'll help you physically. It'll change your life. The only question is to what extent will it change your life? Will it really change your life completely and totally and wholly in every degree and make you happy, or will it just make things slightly better? Well, either way, it's good. Let's try it. And our faith is strong. We'll build our faith by acting upon our faith. Faith is not something that, a lot of people say, oh, well, I've got faith, but I've tried and it doesn't work. So I don't know, or maybe I don't have faith, they're saying. I don't have faith. I don't know how to get faith. See, faith, Jesus says you don't have to have a lot of faith, just the size of a mustard seed. You can move that mountain. What are you talking about? Faith is something you already have. But you have to exercise it with the will. Okay, but let's get back to this other thing. Everything that's happening in this world is going to happen. We're here as a trial, as a test. Jesus learned by the things in which he suffered. And he goes and he progressed from glory unto glory. That's the same thing we're going to do, just as is done by the Lord. 2 Corinthians 3:18. Transmigrates and advances from glory to glory. And each star differeth in star and glory. That's the resurrection. Some people will be raised up like the moon, others like the sun, some like the stars, and each star is different in glory because we're going to transmigrate and progress for eternity. But on this earth, in this physical world, there's going to be tribulation. But Jesus says, fear not, for I've overcome the world. So there's the possibility of fear, or else he wouldn't have said, don't fear. So he's saying, yeah, you're in this world. There's going to be tribulation, but don't be afraid. Well, how can you do that when everything around you is falling apart and you're not happy and you want to be happy and you're sick and you could be dying? Well, what are you going to do about that? Here's the answer. Everything that happens in this physical world is just an illusion. I know, it's hard to believe that, but we're creating our world around us. All these things that are happening to us, have you noticed the patterns? In your particular life, you've seen patterns arising, things going wrong. It's always the same thing. You get some great thing and then boom, it's gone again. Fear started to swallow you up. You're in that little boat and Christ is sleeping. And the waves come up and the wind comes up and it starts rocking your boat and you don't know what to do. All you gotta do is wake up the Christ within you. And what is that Christ? That's the calm place. Remember, Elijah was on the mountain. He was seeking for our Father in heaven and he couldn't find him. He couldn't find him in the earthquake or the or the storm or the fire or the lightning, but he found him in a still small voice within. So you've got to find a communication with your Father in heaven, no matter what's happening on this earth. So how do you do that? You can go and you can pray, and then you get up and forget about your prayer and get enmeshed with all the problems of the world and back into depression, and nothing's working. So what are we going to do? Just keep trying? Yeah. But here's a discipline that you can use. Let me give you an example. One time I was along the road and I had a flat tire. And this happens all the time. Something that came to mind. You got to be aware of these things. Watch and wait. Had a flat tire, and I know in my younger days, I remember things like that happening and thinking, oh, dad gummit, darn tootin', and just start getting mad and walking around and cussing and all upset, and then somebody talks to you and you snap at them and everything's a bad day and you got to fix this tire and you don't know what you're going to do because you don't have a spare and, you're stuck. Well, you can fall apart. You can get angry. You can start losing your cool. And then everything goes wrong that day. From that one thing, you can end up losing so many things. You can end up getting so angry you break something further. People around you they don't like you anymore because you're angry. It is an avalanche. So why do we have these problems? Perhaps they're to teach us something. And if we're going to learn anything from it, we're going to have to make some progress. So if we start thinking of this world that way, that it's just a trial, that we're here for a reason, and every time something happens, we just observe it. Try it. Today, get up out of your bed and look around and say, wow, why am I here? What's about to happen? I would be really, really interested in knowing what's about to happen next. And instead of getting upset about it, I'm just going to observe it. You walk out into the living room and sure enough, there it is. Right? The dog just ripped up everything in your living room. You can get upset or you can say, oh, okay. So this is my test for this morning. Smile, go pet the doggy on the head, love him, tell him you forgive him, and just pick up the stuff and put it away and take your losses and be thankful. And you've just overcome that test. You've just changed your whole disposition. You've just saved your whole day and perhaps your whole life if you continue to do that. Go forward now. Go towards the kitchen. Walk through the kitchen door, take a look, and observe what's about to happen. Ring. Somebody's on the phone. There's another problem. Don't get upset. Just observe. And, I was thinking back to that time when I was in my truck and I had a flat tire and I didn't have a spare and I didn't have, I had a spare but I didn't have a wrench. And I thought, well, this is great. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm stuck. My truck's stuck out here. It's going to get towed away and I don't have the money to get the tow truck and so forth. So I found it in me to just, I was just to the end of my rope and I just sat down and just got calm and just started taking stock of the situation and sort of prayed to my Father in heaven that he'd help me and got calm and found peace. And just about that time that I found that peace and that calm and started using my faith, I started noticing that instead of being upset about the situation, I should try to actively try to fix the situation calmly and ask my Father to help me. Sure enough, as soon as I did that, I looked around and there was a wrench laying along the road that was exactly the kind of wrench that I needed to fix my problem and go on down the road. And this happens all the time. But it would never have happened to me if I'd have been upset and threw a fit and walked off down the road and I never would have saw that wrench. And I might have I would have ruined my whole day, maybe my whole week. But the thing of it is the Bible says that through every trial, now this is an axiom, it's a scriptural axiom. If you're a Christian, think about this. Our Father in heaven knows how to discipline us. He disciplines those whom he loves. You see, he doesn't give us wrath. He doesn't punish us just because we deserve it and he wants us to suffer. There is no punishment in the universe like that. Everything you go through is discipline to correct you. Every father or mother corrects their children the same way. They love their children, and your Father in heaven loves you, and he disciplines those that he loves. And so everything that happens, you've got to start having the mindset that you're not in this world, that this is just a classroom, and that when you achieve dominion over this world, you don't have to be here anymore. You've got to learn what is real. The Spirit is real. And your Father in heaven is real. And the Holy Spirit is real. Right now, we have our doubts about that. So put away those doubts and start paying attention. Start believing. Exercise your faith. And as things begin to go wrong, just observe. Say a prayer, be calm, and allow your Father in heaven to take care of the situation. And don't just wait a minute and just get mad again. Just be calm. Observe. It could take some situations a day or two or something. Don't fret. Don't worry. Conquer the situation. Learn to have dominion over this world. Don't let it make you afraid, because when the fear comes up, the wind blows upon your sea, your emotions, and your little boat gets rocked and you could drown. So it's just like that, if you're in the ocean and you don't have a life jacket and you're drowning. If you start getting panicked and start swimming and everything, you exhaust yourself and you could drown. Same thing with this world. We're in a situation where we've got to be calm. You've got to observe everything that's happening. This is a discipline. Each day as you wake up every morning, go through your entire world as an observer, not as an active player. Because if you get attached to this world in an active way, you get emotional, you get depressed, and it'll take you down. Because I promise you, I guarantee, this world is going to have problems. And as those problems come your way, it's going to try and take you down. And you're no match for it. The flesh is weak. It's not strong enough. You can't achieve your goal through the flesh. You can't achieve your goal by law, by achieving works, by doing anything. All you can do is let the Holy Spirit, which is in you, create the circumstances that are proper for you and right. And you have to do that with faith and being calm. Observe the situation and watch every problem melt like an icicle near the fire. As soon as you observe it and in faith declare that obstacle has no power over you, you're detached from it, you're not upset with it, you're not going to let it create fear in you, you're not going to let it destroy your peace. As soon as if it's true that everything in this world is temporary and that we're spiritual beings and that we're eventually going to leave this place and be with our Father in heaven and with Jesus Christ in a world which is lovely and beautiful, and and that we're overcoming these things through our faith, and if all of this is true, then it's got to be true that everything that's happening to us, our Father in heaven sees it. Remember, it says, Jesus says he sees every sparrow fall. What is he talking about sparrows for? Sparrow is the smallest of the small little birds, right? But our Father sees them. Every little small thing. So, of course he sees you. He sees your problems. He sees everything that's happening to you. Why doesn't he do something? You have to have faith when you pray, because it's impossible to please our Father in heaven without faith. Because you see, the Holy Spirit is love and joy and peace and mildness and goodness and self-control. And against such things there is no law. And we have to follow after the Spirit. And as soon as we learn that principle, the temporary world falls into place. It gets the product of our spirit. We're creating this world through our faith. Our Father in heaven is the light that is the higher consciousness that we are one with. We are one with our Father in heaven. And he works through us. We're his vehicle. And whatsoever we command that mountain, it's got to obey us. We're joint heirs with Christ. We have dominion. We've got to exercise that dominion. We've got to have faith. No matter how mighty of a king you are, no matter how big your scepter is, or how big your kingdom is, if you just lay down and let the enemy take over, then you're done. And what's the enemy? Fear. What's the enemy? Laziness. What's the enemy? Depression. Apathy. Hate. It leads to anger and hate, and then vengeance, and then confusion and total anarchy. What leads to everlasting life is faith. Faith and charity, doing unto others, giving, and then we'll receive. Giving, and then we'll receive. Calm, peaceful, observing of this world, because we're no part of it. Don't become attached. Don't let it rile you. Everything that happens, if something terrible happens to you tomorrow, just remember this that we talked about. Just stand there as calm as a cucumber, no matter what it is, and say, you know what? This is just a test, and I'm going to prove faithful through this one. And I'm gonna advance to the next stage here, because this is it. I'm not gonna let this thing bother me anymore. And as soon as you get that attitude, it won't. It'll go away. You see, once you call Satan out and say, you gotta leave, you ain't got no authority here, he's gotta leave. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there, friends. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. It's a beautiful day here, and I'm gonna go enjoy it, and you guys have a wonderful day.